Bingetown, how we feeling today? It's your boy Dave, joined with the usual Weeb crew, Alki and Kyle. And today, we are finally returning from our almost 2 month hiatus. At long last, we are here to discuss Demon Slayer Hashira Training Arc finale, episode 8, the Hashira Unite. Now, I'm not going to make excuses, but I'm going to make excuses. Unfortunately, when this episode came out, Weeb Alki went on a little vacation to Greece. And I think that was, what was that, 2-3 weeks?
It's about 2.5 weeks.
Yeah. And so by the time he came back, things kind of slipped through the cracks.
House of the Dragon was in full swing. I've had COVID.
Kyle got COVID.
We had a group trip with the friend group.
Oh, true. We all went away together again. So things have happened. We watched this episode right when it came out, and we talked about it. We just didn't record.
Just not in front of the mics. Yeah, just not in the mics.
Yeah.
But
which is funny.
Many of you had reached out to us on Twitter, Instagram, the YouTube comments requesting the Lost Demon Slayer finale episode. So here we are. Mics are mounted, notes thoroughly prepared, at least for myself, I could say. I don't know about Alki. And we are ready to dive.
Look at him. He's ready.
I'm ready, dude. I'm at my Sunday best.
I'm not going to give my thoughts on the episode yet, but I'll just let Alki and Kyle feel free to give your 2 cents on this episode as well as the season as a whole. And maybe if you want to talk about the hiatus and anything else you want to mention with it. But yeah, just give us your thoughts on the episode and the season as a whole.
It's actually interesting to talk about this in the wake of the House of the Dragon finale, because you could kind of argue that the seasons followed somewhat similar trajectories of, we know that we're like heading towards this battle and we're seeing all of the preparations being made and all of that stuff is happening. And then the ending is we're kind of having this assemble moment where we're all together. And you could maybe argue, some people probably, that this was a bit of like a dick tease in that we're all together, but then it's like we're right at the precipice of the explosion happening and it hasn't happened yet. But I would say that this was the successful way to do that, and that they gave us a lot of good stuff at the end. We get Master with the explosion. We have actually the Stone Hashira is in action. So we're getting all of this actually like visually and like speaking to our more Neanderthal side content on top of the like plot progression and character development. So this, I thought, was a masterfully done version of like what House of the Dragon was kind of doing. This was just much more successful at it.
It is so funny that you used the word dick tease, brought up House of the Dragon, because my literal notes are House of the Dragon comparison, but obviously on the better side of like them. Demon Slayer nailed the finale, of course.
Yeah.
But like I also included season 4 of The Boys. Like it was just a real dick tease of a year for television. It's this House of the Dragon and The Boys all just felt like penultimate seasons. Like those were, for me, this was my least favorite season of The Boys. This was probably my least favorite of the Demon Slayer. Not to take away from the shows as a whole. I think both shows are still some of my favorite shows. Like this is still one of my favorite animes. The Boys is still one of my favorite TV shows. It's just that these seasons really left you wanting more, but they are setting themselves up for what's going to be just unbelievable finale seasons. Sorry, Alki, you can go ahead.
No problem. It's true. We were anticipating a lot of television in June, and to add the bear in there, which
I had the bear written down too.
Overall,
but just didn't count it.
like it's funny. It's true. Like the season was like, all right, where is this going? Where is this going? The finales led us to a place where you know what next season is going to be about, and you feel a little unfulfilled. But look, to go back to everything we talked about in our coverage of the season of Demon Slayer as it was coming out, like we were waiting for something to happen, and the truth is, the finale, like it banged. I mean, it was awesome, and we still have a lot to uncover. You know what I mean? So I tried my hardest to appreciate it, and like I try to put myself in the shoes of somebody who read it week from week. Like the interactions with the Hashira were probably awesome to experience and everything, but because we're so spoiled with the Demon Slayer, like
Yeah,
just
their
the
track
our
record.
expectation, yeah, the track record, our expectations were really high. I don't think that we were let down because they did a bad job. I just think that that was the content that what of what encompassed the season. Whatever, like it's I'm not pissed about it. I don't feel like let down the way I do about House of the Dragon. I
Yeah,
am definitely
agreed.
I'm excited, you know. So my take is just that be patient and know that they're gonna stick the landing. Like it's no doubt
Yeah,
in my mind.
Yeah,
absolutely.
they're gonna make us wait long though with these movies.
Yeah, fucking stupid shit, bro.
I guess that's an assumption based on them like making the movies individually, but there's a chance they make them kind of concurrently and they come out faster than the break between seasons would be.
Well, I don't like the movie trend, man. Like, I don't get it. Like, are you really? How much more money are they making with the tickets? Like, who in Japan? I'm sure it's a huge hit, but everywhere else, I don't know. We saw the Haikyuu movie; it was sick, but it wasn't like it was a packed theater. We didn't wait months to go see it. You know.
You
Speaking of,
started the anime off as a show, ended as a show.
yeah, and it is a show. It's fun to watch episode by episode. It's fun to talk about it with your friends and theorize and avoid spoilers and all that, you know?
It
Like
does
the movie.
extend the time for spoilers to seep its way through, like when TV shows do this.
Yeah.
Like
I feel like the ending of Demon Slayer, it's been like a thing that's known in the universe for years at this
True.
point, though. And we've
I
escaped it for the most part. So
look, the movies are going to be good. I just wish it
yeah.
was a normal season, you know?
No, I agree. I think it would be awesome to watch week to week of episodes of whatever the content in the movies is going to be. I
Yeah,
will
cuz
say that they're probably gonna make just bundles of cash.
yeah, like the Haikyuu movie was awesome. I left the theater wanting so much more. It's so fun to watch it week by week, like you said. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
no, it's nothing like it. Like you look for, you know, Kaiju number 8 came out. We were watching that, Dave and I, episode by episode. It was so awesome. Like, what the hell is gonna happen? Who's gonna get revealed next? You know, it's like it's just exciting. Granted, I'll admit, like the movie format, it flows nicely. There's a beginning, middle, and end. Like it really feels cinematic. I appreciate that. I just like the seasons.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I agree.
All right. One last thing before we get into it. Apologize if some of us sound terrible on mic, just because we had a last second poop out of our machine. So now I'm
Yeah.
forced to use Skull Candy. So here we are.
Wow. I haven't heard that brand name in years, I think.
And it's because you haven't needed to, because we all have
Yeah.
Apple iPhones and we've not
Yeah,
needed
that's
to
so
use Skull
funny.
Candy. So here we are.
Look at what we're going through to get you this episode, people.
I was stressing, man. I was stressing. I needed this. I needed to get this out into the ether. All
That's
righty.
so funny.
So picking up where we left off last episode, you guys want to talk about the 5-minute walk up again, or
No. Although I did see something that where like he's walking through the mist and everything, and I thought it was just like a visual choice, but apparently it's like the wisteria stuff for the demons. So just
interesting?
I literally found that out today. So I mean it took me months to uncover that information, but there you go. There's a little bit of research
Look, it still looks
for the walk up.
it still looks divine at the end of the day. I can't knock on it
Yeah.
too much, but it still
Yeah.
looks great. So
And it led us to the conversation, which was fantastic.
we get the anticipated conversation between Master and Muzan. Essentially, it's going to be a lot to break down here. We'll try and take it bit by bit. But at first, we see Muzan and how disgusted he is by how the Master looks. He's been anticipating his enemy to look a lot more healthy and in better condition than what he sees now. Master kind of replies saying, well, 6 months ago, I was told that I was going to be dead in a few days, but here I am 6 months later, purely on my desire to just meet with you, not even like, and like even just get like an attempt to kill him. Like I don't think the Master ever came out of this plan knowing that he was going to kill Muzan, but like he did all this he extended his life for so long, all hatred and desire for him to meet Muzan in this moment here. And we also get a couple more reveals as well that the clan, the Ubuyashiki clan, has been cursed because of Muzan becoming a monster and killing all these people. Their clan is now forced to bear children that are sick and unable to grow into their old age. So I think the max their clan is capable of living is 30 years. Like a
crazy
clan. Yeah, that was so wild.
It's like the pressure of that being like, okay, I gotta get a wife, I gotta have kids, I gotta have enough kids, and then knowing that I have those kids and I'm condemning them to a life that's full of sickness and only being able to live to 30
years.
Yeah. It's just a continual line of that is crazy. I can understand where this like deep rooted just hatred and the fuel of that comes from.
The first like 8 years of your life, you're basically informed on what's going on, and then the next 22 years is just dedicated to hatred. All right, how do we hatred, and how do we cure this? So, and it's interesting too, the divine aspect that they talk about here, because Ubuyashiki talks about how he does believe in God essentially because of how his clan has been cursed, where Muzan, on the other hand, has actually never once thought about divine intervention, things like that, because he's gone on for thousands of years killing people freely and has never once been punished for it. So I thought that was an interesting take on this whole dynamic, because usually in these kinds of situations, you know, Muzan would probably by now have faced some sort of punishment, or like there probably have been people who have come across, as we've seen, like Tanjiro's ancestor, or not his ancestor, but the master that we've come across a few times. Like, it's just cool, I think, how Demon Slayer does this look and kind of brings in this divine outlook.
Yeah, it was interesting of him just having that very like tacit admission that like, I'm a terrible person. Mm-hmm. I've just been murdering people for thousands of years and nothing has happened to me. So obviously God doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. And that was just, I don't know really what I expected out of Muzan, but I thought that was just like an interesting answer that made me think a little bit. I don't know. His character seems like he can be deep, but also quite simple.
Yes.
At the same time, you know, he kind of can fluctuate a little bit. So that was just like an odd thing
he's
that I wasn't expecting.
He's like detached or like naive, you could say.
And this is where things just get really interesting in terms of Ubuyashiki talking about how the human will is essentially immortal, and that's Muzan, his ultimate goal is to achieve that immortality. And the master is just coming back saying, well, while we humans aren't ourselves immortal, the human will is, in the sense that you have caused generations of pain upon humans, and it's now starting to finally come back up with you. The human will only gets stronger with motivation, and you have given us the perfect reason to like work together and come together. I love the quote where he says, you stepped on the tiger's tail and incurred the wrath of the dragon. Both now have their eyes fixed on you. It's like the imagery there was incredible too, with the portraits behind him, the look that the master was giving him. And the whole time Muzan is trying to read for any sorts of like bloodlust or anger that would trigger him. And the whole time he's like, okay, he's just a gentle guy. And he's leading on this mask of he's so kind and would never hurt Muzan here, even in his sick age. But I think he absolutely crushed it here.
He was great. And the idea of the like will being passed on is something that we encounter quite often in anime. I mean, literally just off the top of my head, I mean, Naruto, the will of fire, right? That's something that they talk about. I mean, it kind of loses its way. Actually, no, it doesn't, because it comes around at the end. One Piece a little bit with like people's dreams don't die, and they kind of, you're immortal in that sense. But they never really talk about it, I would say, from this like actually explicit lens of immortality. And I thought that was a really interesting contrast to Muzan's idea of immortality. And it totally gives us this like really good idea of like good versus evil. I honestly enjoy that Muzan is just like pure evil, you know, because it has been a trend of Yeah, of like villains have to have this level of redeemability and we need their backstory. Yeah, and it's just like sometimes it's just nice to get this dude who like doesn't
Just
care.
hates the world.
Yeah, just has his own goal and he just will kill anyone and do whatever it takes, and he's literally just pure evil.
And
Him versus and the master, this conversation which was driven by the master because the master's talking so much, I thought was just really good. I wasn't anticipating it to be like this in Demon Slayer, and I don't know why, but I thought it really worked out well. I was really satisfied at the end of this.
We've always talked about too for all the seasons that we've been just the simplicity of Demon Slayer is just so good. Like the story itself is not overly complicated, and as we're talking here, like we're seeing that Muzan's complicated, but he's also not. Like he is just a straight up villain, but he has these like the whole thing of him being able to become a human or at least like look like a human and have family. Like that's complicated, but at the end of the day, he just wants to murder everyone. So it's like it's great. This is why we love Demon Slayer.
Yeah, and he at this point, obviously he's too far gone at this point, but it doesn't seem like he was ever really a person that could accept the idea of the master's idea of immortality, of like your will and your values and your principles and all of that being passed on to people, and that's the level of immortality. It's honestly kind of a nice thought.
Not only is Muzan pure evil, Tanjiro, like there's no power of friendship bullshit. And yes, it is like a simple anime, but Tanjiro's like, I'm gonna cut you down. He's not gonna sit down with him and talk. You know, it's great. Like I want Tanjiro to cut his ass up, and I can't wait.
Yeah, there is gonna be no.
With you saying power of friendship, now I remember on either like the 6th or the 7th episode we talked about My Hero. Has My Hero has ended since then, has it not?
Yes.
Or was it
I
done
read the final chapter. It's officially
that just reminded me. That just reminded me that we had that conversation because I've seen nothing but terrible things about the end of My Hero on the internet.
Listen, like the
but that's not why we're here, but
the journey was good. Enough with the power of friendship bullshit. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. Like that is a like in essence that's somewhat similar to this idea of like the inheritance of will and things like that, but it's that's different. I really like the way that Demon Slayer gave it to us here, and like the way it works in the context of Demon Slayer was great to me.
It's nice. It's sorry, but I mean, like in general, when anime has have villains, like it's cool when they have layers, and you know you kind of have to piece together why they're the way they are, right? Muzan, we know why he is the way he is, and he's a fucking piece of shit for it. There's no sympathy. Like I don't have sympathy for him, and like Kyle said, it's refreshing. It's like I don't need to like the villain, you know.
And I'm not anticipating any sympathy.
No,
I mean, I don't think we'll get even in further, these movie content of like we're crossing swords and blades with him, and I mean, I'll say this now. I prefer it not to give us that, but Demon Slayer is good at wrenching our hearts out with things. So
it's gonna be the same recipe that's been the success. Is like Tanjiro's gonna have this epic battle, and like as Muzan's dying, like Tanjiro's gonna like get a whiff of his emotions, and then we're gonna get the backstory of like why Muzan's like a piece of shit. But we'll see though. And to make things even easier on the story, if Muzan dies, all demons die. So another just simple thing, simple task.
Fuck yeah.
Just gotta kill Muzan. That's all you gotta do, and then everything is over.
Let's do it. Yes, let's do it. No, I mean, let's hope not. No, like Kaguya level ass pull other villain comes out that's like some mechanic that we're unaware of.
The
like
OG demon.
Yeah, like this, and we have like a little bit of Muzan's background though, of like when he initially and even like, but that was not enough, I would say, for us to like feel bad for him or anything. So like I keep him the way he is. It's working really well. I'm in favor of all the Muzan stuff.
He was like dying, and then he killed the freaking doctor that was keeping him alive. Like he sucks.
Yes. Keep him sucking. Keep him sucking.
So while the conversation is going on, we see glimpses of the other demon slayers who are approaching the castle. But unfortunately, the master is already enacting his plan of kamikaze, and so he decides to blow up his entire house, which I legitimately thought was like a real explosion in terms of like cinematography. Like that did
It was
not look
unbelievable.
animated or CGI to me, honestly. I had to like go back and rewatch it to make sure, but
It
it
was like
just
borderline out of place. Even though Demon Slayer's animation is so perfect, it was like a new level of detailed perfection that I just wasn't anticipating.
people like went to Twitter and immediately compared the manga to the anime and were like, they did this scene 10 times over justice. Like
Awesome.
because in the manga, it's literally just a one-page panel of the house exploding, and then it's like Muzan's corpse on the next page. So like they
Wow.
love the added effect of like the slow motion, the different angles, like the fire in the background, and how you could really just see it like a exploding. It just was so well done, man. I was
Yeah.
so blown away. I've also been really enjoying the memes that have been coming out of this scene with how they're basically all around the idea that it's like, yo, did you ask your kids if they were cool with the plan? Like just
Yes.
just
Yeah.
sacrificing them off like
Well, that's interesting too, because we just talked about, and I even brought it up of like this whole cycle of we're having children to then pass on this curse slash hatred slash will. He must, I mean, he's going all in on this plan. He just wiped his family off the face of the planet. It doesn't, to my knowledge, there is no more Ubayashikis.
yeah, I think
There might be some. He might have some in a bunker somewhere or something like that.
or
I mean, I
the
guess. I like the idea more that it's just, this is it. This is the plan.
or
True.
they could remove the demon part of Muzan, and Muzan could become human again, and he would be the last Ubiyashiki.
I mean, he reforms himself here and he gets hit with and I hate that I don't remember what her name is, but the scientist blood lady, and she like
Tamayo.
tells him like, yeah, Tamayo, like that she put something in his blood to make demons into humans, and he was like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. I would be crazy to watch his like mental unraveling if he became a human.
Yeah, this next scene was this is the Demon Slayer fighting animation that we look for, because so Tamayo shows up with her blood demon art, which was so sick that just like paralyzed Muzan in his tracks basically, and to pair that up with who else but the strongest Hashira Gyome with his Namuami Dabutsu, and just
Oh,
fucking
nice.
comes in swinging and clocks Muzan over the head. And while I knew it wasn't over, I was so fucking hyped, man. That just looked
Yeah.
so clean. I love his weapon. I don't even know what you call that. It's like a ball and sickle, but not really. Like it's not just
Yeah.
a
He
ball.
like
It's a
uses it like nunchucks.
yeah. It's
He just like
so
whips it around when he's like stone breathing third form, and it's just like the absolute whirlwind of he's just knocking everything out of the way. It was just like, I can't even imagine the level of training it would take to be good with that. You know how many times you could just kill yourself?
yeah. And I want to get a bit like a behind the scenes of how they craft all these like swords, because obviously like the Love Hashira has a crazy one. Like he has his own unique one. It's so cool to see the different style of weapons. Like obviously I'm an OG katana guy. Like I would always rock a
Yeah.
katana, but seeing these other variations of what they can do with the metal is just so interesting to me. And I think Guillaume just absolutely lived up to the name here. He caught Muzan by surprise, and this was all part of the master's plan too, including Guillaume stepping in here and trying to finish off Muzan after the explosion. He trusted the master that is trusted Guillaume with the task of using himself as bait to lure out Muzan, provide an opportunity of weakness for him for where Guillaume could possibly come in and finish him off. But of course, Muzan or the master and all of the audience foresaw that Muzan wasn't going to go down just here. It seems like the only way now that we have confirmed to kill Muzan is through the sunlight, essentially.
Yeah.
I just want to say that I know in the last episode that we recorded, I said that the master has something up his sleeve and that he's going to pull out all the tricks. I thought he was going to have a physical confrontation with Muzan, I'll be honest, but he did go out with a bang nonetheless, and I'm
Yeah.
proud of him.
Yeah. I was really glad they gave us this flashback too, this conversation with Guillaume, Because he's right. I mean, he was the only one that would ever accept the plan. Yeah, I mean, the other ones kind of love the master too much in their own way. Like Guillaume's just that guy, man.
Savage.
He's a beast.
Everyone else finally shows up, and what I just love about this scene is, of course, Tanjiro shows up and knows right away it's Muzan.
So
meanwhile,
good.
Guillaume has to announce to everyone else, like, yo, this fucker right here is Muzan. Like, our boy Tanjiro already knows that because he's just a fucking beast and has that experience. But I really love this. This was so hype when Guillaume just looks. I'm sure like all the other Demon Slayers probably knew it immediately too that was Muzan, but like it was just so hype seeing him just call out like, "This is Muzan, fucking get him right now." And
yeah,
but Muzan had a counter plan of his own, and as soon as they all go in for the kill shot on Muzan, he teleports all the Demon Slayers, every single one of them, not just the Hashiras, all the ones just chilling around the area, to the Infinity Castle. And
I was reading an article about the finale, and someone commented like they felt disappointed that Muzan could just do this because why hasn't he just done it at other times? But I felt like it was very deliberate this season that they set up this new Upper Moon character that was like developing almost this ability by like tagging all of the Hashiras and watching them and all of that stuff, so that I didn't get that feeling at all.
She was giving Muzan like information, like percentages, basically, like, oh, I've located like 60% of the Hashira, and then so obviously the moment that she finds all 100% of the Hashira, this Demon Slayers, then he's going to enact his plan. So like, I don't think I have an issue with it at all, because while yes, we had been complaining that we hadn't gotten enough of the Upper Moon, those small moments that we did get of her, it was very clear that they were tracking not just
the big boys.
Yeah, not just the Hashira and Nezuko. Oh, Jesus Christ, that was so bad. But they were tracking everyone. So I have no complaints with how that went down.
No, and we were totally taking it as like this will be the confrontation at the end. Will be the battle with this Upper Moon. Worked out well that our expectations were not met, and we were surprised. I think it all made sense. I mean, the thread was there throughout the whole season, so it worked for me for sure. I thought it was funny too, though, all of the scenes we get of characters who weren't there getting summoned to the Infinity Castle.
Apparently, those weren't like full drawn panels either. Those were like things like Inosuke donning the headpiece. I think is like one of the signatures at like the end of like a chapter, it's just like a blank white page, and then it's Inosuke just like putting on the hat. So like the manga readers were really hyped to see that they animated like what everyone was doing in that moment. And I think the author or the director, I think it was the author, directly said like the reason Inosuke is laughing is because like of course he knows like he's about to have like a hell of a time right now. Like he's he goes from like being all alone.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Animation is just the greatest adaptation.
Dude, Zenitsu is about to pop off. Sorry, Kyle.
You're good. I mean, I agree with that too. We talked about it the last episode we did, or again, maybe it was 6, maybe it was 7, of like what is his deal? Of like what is? Yeah, I mean he's
gonna fuck shit up.
Yeah, but we need to find out like what's this demeanor change about? I know we joked that it was going to be about a girl, but it seems like it's going to be something serious.
It's something serious, bro.
His character will be forever ruined if it's not something serious.
I think it's going to be something serious.
I think it's gonna be dope. I don't know what it is. I think we're gonna get awake, badass Zenitsu, which is.
I have been waiting for that since his introduction, and I truly hope that we freaking get it. But
I think we will.
Last thing really to say is just I love when Tanjiro's calling out his enemies, like he's falling down and he's just giving Muzan the biz, and it was giving me like the same feelings of when he was calling out the Upper Moon 3 after the fight with Rengoku. It's just Tanjiro has a lot of things to say, but he absolutely can back up everything that he has to say. So
I believe him 100%.
It's like
if they Arya Stark Night King us and someone else takes out Muzan, I'm gonna be very personally offended. I just feel like I believe Tanjiro when he says what he says. And I think it's going to be fantastic. Although we're going to have to watch 2 movies probably before we get to that 3rd movie. But and
is it going to be 3 movies? Like we're sure. Are we mixing it up with Haikyuu?
I didn't confirm that, but
I have no idea off the top of my head, to be honest.
Yeah, to be yes. Look, Demon Slayer's final arc to be a movie trilogy.
All right.
So we're getting 3 of them, but it's so like tropey cliche that we're getting like everyone split up for this final confrontation and we're going to get the matchups 1v1, but it makes sense with the ability of the Infinity Castle and like Muzan's powers, and B, the cool, like there's a reason why it's cliche and tropey, because it's like the greatest thing ever. I mean, we've spent decades at this point doing like the Blackbeard pirate and Straw Hat pirate like 1v1 matchups, you know, like it's just something that it just speaks to our Neanderthal brains, and like I couldn't be more excited that this is like the setup of like we're all split up in the Infinity Castle, they're gonna land somewhere and they're gonna be staring across from an upper moon and everyone's just gonna fucking get after it. Like there's nothing
you bringing up the One Piece Blackbeard matchups, it just takes me back to literally us in high school, just in my shed, just like Luffy's fighting Blackbeard, Zoro's fighting Shiryu, and this is all going down. Like,
yeah, all the arguments over who's like Blackbeard's actually like true first mate and all that stuff. Yeah, classic.
Oh, dude, those are like the best conversations.
This is part of the reason. Part of the reason these conversations are what like led to Binge Town, and at least specifically with this anime channel, like 100% were those conversations in the shed.
Who do you guys think Zenitsu is going to face up with?
See, I don't remember the moons off the top of my head. I feel like Tanjiro's got to fight 3. Right, 3 is who, or 4? Who killed Rengoku? 3 or 4? 3. That feels like that's got to be Tanjiro's.
You don't think Inosuke has like a little quarrel there too? Like Inosuke loved Rengoku too.
It's true. I don't know. Just with the whole Tanjiro like challenge, he throws the sword at him, and
I also think Tanjiro has to fight 1 too.
That's another thing. That's why I asked. I think
it's like,
oh my god, what's his name?
That feels like a duo battle. I don't know if they're gonna give Tanjiro that he's gonna do one-on-one and then Muzan one-on-one. Like that would be the most legendary run.
Let me ask you something.
He's got to be with all of them.
The water Hashira is gonna face off with 1 at least first, or he might try to take Muzan. They're all going to try to take Muzan, but
I feel like the Mist Hashira fighting the Upper Moon 1 could somehow work its way with the fact that like Muichiro has like that special. Doesn't he have like special?
Yeah. I think Muzan's gonna kill Muichiro.
Oh my god, dude! Shut the fuck up.
They were so harping on it this season of like we're gonna take him down together, and like it's not gonna work like that. Like I think they're gonna fight him together, and like I believe that because again it's this idea that like I believe them when they say that, but I just think that Tanjiro is gonna be the one to defeat him, and it's gonna come at the cost of someone. I mean, like we have to I feel like lose like maybe 3 Hashiras at this point. We're all in the Infinity Castle. We can't get
people are gonna die for sure, but. What's going to happen with the marks? I think that they're all going to be brawling and Tanjiro's going to like freak out and then they're all just going to like with the marks.
Yeah, so I'm glad that I brought this up in one of the episodes this season. I feel like I was talking about how like you don't need to be born with the mark, because they were like in that meeting of the Hashiras or whatever, they were saying you have to be born with the mark. And Tanjiro specifically, we know was not born with this mark. Like I think he spilled boiling water on his head when he was a kid, and like that's where the scar came from, and now it's manifested into this mark. So, and I mean, I had talked about how the Wind Hashira has all the scars over his body. Like I think the people that have scars are already like in that beat of ready to be awakened, and not that it'll give him like an advantage, but like again, it's just Tanjiro has proven that if you don't need to be born with it. Like I think all these other people have scars and they weren't born with them.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because it's definitely been like I've only ever watched the Demon Slayer episodes once, maybe twice, but do we like see the moment that he gets the scar, or are we just told that like that's
really
what he remembers?
So it's great that I was rewatching this with Luke, and I actually like took notes because of it. But it was literally just a quick flashback scene. Like Tanjiro's in his head talking about how people are saying like, "Oh, you're born with this mark," and he's literally in his head saying, "It's funny because like I wasn't born with this mark," and it's literally him like protecting his brother as like a pot of boiling water like falls on his head, and like that's it.
Because I was gonna say like I could see it being where like that's like the memory he has
But
of it, the story he was told, but in reality, it's something intrinsic and
he
powerful
does
in him.
specifically say though that the mark has changed. Like everyone has obviously said it, but he has himself admitted that the mark is not what it has originally looked like from when he first got it. So it has
See
manifested.
the scars. Yeah, I mean the scars being kind of the almost visual contrast between the demons and the humans, where like the demons kind of heal fully and instantly, while the humans kind of bear the marks of their struggle against their own mortality and this struggle to impose their will and fight for the future that they want, and then that being a reason they can manifest the marks. I could see that. It just feels a little simple of being like your scars then turn red.
Yeah, no, I think
Well,
it'll be
it's
obviously
not
more than
about
that. I think
this.
it'll help though. I think it'll
It's
just
definitely not
Yeah.
about the scars. I think that this is like his lineage. It manifested at the scar, and because Muichiro and the Love Hashira, like they manifested marks and they didn't
without
have it.
having
It
scars.
wasn't on scars,
Yeah.
So it has it's. I don't want to use the word coincidental because it's not coincidence. Tanjiro is obviously
Yeah. It's
special, but it manifested at this spot. It's just I think it's just like a creative choice that the
yeah.
author made for the beginning of the story to be able to say like, oh, maybe it's like it's nothing special. It's just the scar, and now you learn that it is actually special. You know what I'm
Or
saying?
is it like hockey where it was kind of created somewhat along the way and it was just like he already had this car, so he's like, okay, let's make that mark this thing, and then it'll be like I don't know.
Retcon it.
It's just that's just kind of what that reminded me of. Either way, I think it still
I
works for
mean,
me.
it could have been retconned. I don't know.
Yeah. I have no idea. I don't know. I don't think I know anything about the mangaka.
I don't
When
know if you
he
guys go ahead, Alki.
when when Tanjiro was fighting at the entertainment district, like is either this fight, that
Great
fight,
season.
or the season after with Muichiro. I think
Great
his
season.
scars were like everywhere, like they were coming out of his shirt, like they
Yeah.
were not. I mean, not the scars, the marks. Excuse me. So like, if it has to do with the scar, why would it be elsewhere? Granted,
I
he
don't
probably has
remember
plenty.
that.
He probably has plenty scars, but anyway.
Yeah, I mean Tanjiro definitely has a ton now. They've shown
Yeah.
that he has like a lot of scars at this point.
Mhm.
He's just a beast.
Each scar he
Just a
gets
beast.
is a mark that he gets to dish out to someone else.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's I mean, the topic that got us onto this being what are the matchups, who's gonna fight who, that's something I'm cannot wait to see. Like when they all land and it's like who do we got? I mean, with Guillaume and Stone Hashira, like he's gotta fight someone strong or else he's just gonna work them.
Like, is he going to be I could see him being the warm up for Muzan essentially. Like Muzan,
I could see
Guillaume
him
go
dying
at
for
him,
sure.
and then Guillaume gets killed, and then Tanjiro shows up and has to clean up, baby. The last thing I
Yeah.
want to say here is I don't know if you guys either of you watched or remember the end credit scene. I thought it was very touching and very sweet. It's Tanjiro with the Love Hashira, and they're just kind of talking about Rengoku, reminiscing a little bit. Fun fact,
Oh my.
yeah. Fun fact, I don't know if I mentioned this on the last podcast, but the Love Hashira was Rengoku's apprentice, actually. Fun fact. She was the only one capable of surviving and all of Rengoku's harsh training. And of course, she had the appetite that could also match Rengoku.
That works.
So I thought that was very interesting. But they're talking about Rengoku and about the future. And we hear Rengoku's voice in the background, cheering them on and giving them some words of inspiration. They look off in the distance. He's not there, but it was nice hearing Rengoku's voice and some new voice lines for Rengoku as he sends off his little babies into battle.
He's gonna be in, I think, 2 of 3 movies.
Rengoku?
His face.
I'm calling that shot. Yeah.
Like,
Oh
what do
my
you mean
God,
by that?
he's gotta be.
Like,
He's gonna.
what do you
It's
mean
gonna
by
be
that?
a flashback, or like
Oh.
Tanjiro's gonna like see him like behind him, or like like the Goku Teen Gohan thing,
father
like
son
something.
Kamehameha.
Yes, like, something like that is gonna happen for sure.
Anytime they mention Rengoku, it's just the most touching thing for me. It's like when Tanjiro was gifted the hilt or whatever, the guard. That was amazing.
Remember us trying to find the word when when that episode happened, and we were like, "Ooh, what's the word?"
And then when Tanjiro goes back and sees, God, I'm blanking. Who's my boy, the Sound Hashira? Why am I blanking on his name? Whoever. But when he sees the Sound Hashira again, and he's still
Tengen.
He's got his Tengen. He's got his upbeat attitude, and Tanjiro looks at him. He's like, "That's just." He reminds me of Rengoku, and it's like those moments, man. They're touching.
Oh, we didn't see Tengen, right?
No.
In the getting dropped into the castle.
I unfortunately. Oh, we did not. I don't think he'll be there, and he's gonna
Noted.
die. Noted.
And
unfortunately, he's gonna fucking die, and I'm gonna be fucking pissed when that happens.
Well, it's gotta be tough if you're not summoned. How do you get there? Like, you can't just like force your way in.
Oh, Tengen would force his way in.
I guess
he would have a flash. He would have a flashy entrance somehow.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it.
He might have got summoned in. I mean, I was also thinking about, does this mean that they found Nezuko? If they found Nezuko, that means that Tanjiro and Gyu's master will be in the Infinity Castle too.
I guess I was taking it as they hadn't yet. This was just, and I guess I was literally about to say the words. This was Muzan with his back against the wall, and he then literally says in the show, he yells at Tanjiro and says, "You think you had my back against the wall, but you didn't." So I'll take that back. But this just felt like, I don't think Muzan went in with this plan.
And it's just not like, as long as he has 100. If he has 100% of the Demon Slayers there, he could just send out Upper Moon 4. That's probably what's going to happen, honestly, is Upper Moon 4 is probably going to fight Nezuko 1-on-1. That'll be.
I mean, this is, if Nezuko's goal 1, I mean, wiping out all of the Hashiras is like the greatest consolation prize you could ever have in the history of any consolation prize. So, like, I think he's fine with doing that and then finding Nezuko. If she's not
my point is that if she's not summoned, then she will get there. Like, there's no way the story goes without her being there.
Yeah,
that's how Tengen's gonna get there too.
That's how Tengen's gonna get there too, motherfucker. Yeah.
But
that's
no,
what
at the same time.
And it'll be flashy, dude. It'll be flashy.
Yeah, it'll be hella flashy.
I want him to stay home and sleep on it.
He should retire. Stay in the mountains with your 3 wives. Yeah. He's already got the formula.
All right,
he's got it cooking.
Any final words as we're 2 months late to this recording?
Yes, I think the Speed Hashira and number 3 could have a good face-off. I actually think that their matchup like makes sense on paper.
You're saying the Sound Hashira?
No, Speed.
Mist? Muichiro?
No, Speed Hashira. The Speed Hashira, right? Wind. Excuse me. Yes, Wind.
Muichiro, they showed us, was fast. Was like
Speed Hashira. You don't know who I'm talking about.
It's like, I don't know what you're saying.
The Speed Hashira, the brother.
I was like, Zenitsu? Like, who the fuck are you talking
I just said Speed Hashira. Wind Hashira. The Wind Hashira.
Yes, Zenitsu actually was in a bad shot for that too.
The Wind Hashira and the number 3 would actually like match up, I think. I think they match up. It's like CP3 versus Steph Curry, bro. Western Conference Finals, LA Clippers, Golden State.
I mean, who's CP3 in this situation? Because I'm putting my money on them getting worked.
Yeah, CP3 is probably the Wind Hashira, but it'll be like the whole moment.
They got the police presence. The police This is Chris Paul. Blake Griffin's trying to
get my parting shot was just gonna be, I have no idea what we're gonna cover next.
Yeah,
just looking at, I mean, like Arcane doesn't really count.
Oh, you know what? Solo Leveling season 2 trailer dropped fairly recently, so who knows? Maybe that'll be next. So, because I think they're doing a weird thing where it's like they're gonna release it like. So what we just watched was like first half of season 1, and then they'll like kind of quickly release second half of season 1.
Okay,
it'll be weird.
I'm seeing that Blue Lock season 2 comes out in October.
Paul, might have to bring Paul. Might have to bring Paul on for a recommendation for
Blue Lock. That's the soccer one, right?
Yeah, he caught up officially on that.
Yeah.
So.
I heard I was just gonna bring it up just because I don't know the next time the three of us will be covering an anime. Yeah,
we should have done. What we should have done is Kaiju number 8 because that shit is fire, dude.
Yeah. Well, we could barely even finish this. So.
Yeah, that's true. This was a fun struggle for us. We had so much good momentum, and then it was just all crushed.
Yeah,
it's all good. We'll figure out something. We'll get back on the mic, I'm sure, soon enough. But final thoughts from either of you.
Yeah, just we were critical of the ride. I think the ending was still worthwhile. It hurts to have to wait for the movies, but I'm sure the wait will go somewhat quickly.
In one of the episodes I mentioned that my brother's opinion of the final arc wasn't not his favorite arc ever, but he said his favorite arc of Demon Slayer was the Hashira training arc. So
that gives me very good positive vibes going into the finale.
So the Mithri's opinions suck.
Yeah, well, I hope he's so wrong and has terrible taste.
This shit'll pop off.
I hope he's listening too. I hope your taste sucks, even though I know you have good taste. So
he is right about what is it, flutes in rap music or whatever.
Trumpet. Anytime there's a trumpet in a rap song, it's a banger, and he's not wrong about that one. No, his thing was just like he enjoyed reading it. That's why I mentioned in the beginning of the episode, like chapter by chapter with the Hashira interactions. So I just like whatever, man. The fucking shit's gonna bang. That's it.
Yeah. It is. All of these movies are absolutely in a bang. We're going to be there, and we're going to give our thoughts. We'll record after each movie and get those out to you guys as soon as possible. That's going to be it for today's episode coverage and season coverage of Demon Slayer. If you like what you heard, give Bingetown TV a follow on all of our socials: X, Insta, YouTube, TikTok, all that good stuff. I have it written down. June's going to be a very busy month for us, but
if you listen to this episode A and B, if you're still listening, then geez, we love you.
Yeah, and honestly, Kyle, off the top of your head, what are some shows that Bingetown will be covering in the upcoming months? I know for a fact.
I was gonna say, if you listen to the House of the Dragon finale, I literally was like, I had no idea what we're doing.
Yeah, for a fact that is on Alki. What is that on Max? We've been watching that.
Dexter's coming back.
Amazon.
Yeah, Dexter's coming back. I'm not exactly sure when though. Arcane's in November. That's kind of far away, but that's kind of just like big hitters off the top of my head. We always find something to do, man. We've been doing this weekly for 4 years at this point.
What's the next Yellow Jacket season?
Oh, I haven't.
I don't know if we have a date.
But if you
guys
are
filming, but
if you guys are looking for something, go check out our main channel, Bingetown TV. If you're listening to us on our Demon Slayer feed, there you'll keep up with all the new content that we're going to be coming out with. I'm sure we're going to be doing some pitch towns, which are our versions of bringing people on as guests to the podcast and having them pitch shows for us. We'll be doing a lot of that, a lot of rooks and vets to kill a lot of this time, where we bring on rookie show watchers to a show watcher that a veteran has watched already. And so we'll be trying to put those in the mix as we try and figure out what the next shows we'll be covering are. So stay tuned for that. Check out the main channel, bingetowntv.com. And thanks for listening.